Hello there, welcome to another episode of the Allotment Dram. This is a series of short videos where we sit and talk about different whiskies in the surroundings of our North London allotment. You join me here today on an absolutely lovely afternoon. You know, it's been warm, sunny, perfect for the start of August, and it's meant I've got a lot of jobs done as well. Mostly weeding, but I have harvested a few things as well. I know a lot of you like to see this before I start talking about the whiskey. So just got a couple more of these globe artichokes, a bit on the small side, but you know, still be very tasty. Very exciting as well to have harvested some new potatoes today. You know, probably the most expensive potatoes we'll ever buy, and had to wait some months for them, but you know, they'll be lovely in a nice potato salad or something like that. Also, just from the hedge behind me, I've got some of these blackberries as well. You know, lovely bramble wild blackberries, so you know, they're starting to come good now. Absolutely stacks of those on the bush there. And also very exciting, on the old damson tree, we've got absolutely stacks of these already. These are just the ones I could reach, so next time I'm here I'm going to have to get up a ladder and sort of climb up the top of the tree and see what else I can get. But yeah, look at those beauties, absolutely lovely. But while that's all very exciting, you know, I am here to talk about whiskey and the Allotment Dram. What is it today, I hear you ask? Well, it's from right here in London actually. You know, we've really not had to travel very far. You know, just across to West London to the distillery of Bimber, and it's the Bimber Oloroso Cask. And this is the fourth batch, which came out in March of this year of this. So it's a small batch of basically some ex-bourbon casks that were then finished into some Oloroso sherry butts. And this batch, as I say, came out in March. Just 975 bottles, and this particular one, this is bottle number 16, which we're very lucky to get, and also 51.2%, so bottled at the natural cask strength. But what can I tell you about Bimber? It was founded in 2015 by a Polish gentleman called Dariusz Plazewski, so huge apologies to anyone Polish that's watching for the pronunciation of that, but my Polish isn't very good, unfortunately. So he founded it. He's a whiskey fan and decided to set up the Bimber distillery. Bimber actually means moonshine, you know, like illicit spirit in Polish, and he decided to set the distillery up in Greenford in West London, so it's out sort of towards Heathrow Airport, that sort of direction. And they started distillation in 2016 and then released their first single malt only in September 2019. So, you know, it's really, you know, not even 2 years ago, but since then, you know, they've won a lot of awards, and talking worldwide awards. They've gained a lot of plaudits, to the point where, you know, there's still no core product, so all of their releases are either single casks or small batches like this one. But it's gained a lot of sort of support, a bit of a cult following, and you know, a lot of sort of traction. You know, so actually Bimber is one of the best performing distilleries in the auction market. So people are buying, they're flipping, it's called, so they buy or they get the bottle and then put it onto whiskey auction sites straight away. And it's actually one of the distilleries that gains the most wealth and very quickly. So for example, since they released this, they've released a series in conjunction with London Underground. These are all, I think, single casks, but you know, they went for what, about £125, something like that each. And I've seen them going for over £1,000 already on auction sites, so you know, absolutely staggering actually. But you know, we like what they're doing. We're still yet to visit because obviously there's been lockdown and everything else, but as things open up, you know, we really want to take a trip out there and go and see what they're doing, because they actually have a single farm that they get the grain from down in Hampshire. This is then sent to the famous old Warminster maltings, which have been going since sort of the 1850s, 1855 I think, and this is carried out the traditional floor malting, so like they do at a few distilleries in Scotland still, where they lay the barley out on the floor once it's been soaked, and then it gets turned over every sort of few hours by hand to sort of aerate it and stop it knitting together as the roots and the shoots grow. So yeah, very traditional place. You know, the distillery again, you know, it has its own cooperage on site, and they're currently producing around 50,000 litres a year. So, you know, very small operation out of an industrial unit in West London. But, you know, it's become so popular that, you know, they've actually purchased some old farm buildings in Scotland, in Speyside, and they're actually going to convert it into a distillery and visitor centre there. So this will be their second distillery at Dunfale Farm, just south of Nairn, in Speyside, so sort of near towards Inverness direction. But yeah, very exciting times, and you know, no one probably could have predicted how it's sort of escalated in the 2 years since they released their first whiskey. But let's have a try of this. As I say, this is the batch number 4 of the Oloroso cask, so been in the bourbon casks, then popped into these Oloroso sherry butts, these massive 700 litre casks, for a shorter period. So let's have a smell and a taste, see what we've got. Just push that out, but that's pop the lid back on, of course, always. So let's have a look. You see it's lovely, sort of coppery gold colour. There's yeah, lovely. Let's have a smell. Yes, absolutely delicious. Like leaping out of the bottle. As you can see, we've opened our bottle. You know, we're not into this flipping game where you basically buy a bottle and then put it on an auction site straight away. You know, whiskey's for drinking in our view, but some would say we were stupid and we should have sold it. But you know, here we are. Yeah, absolutely delicious. Oh dear, air ambulance there, so someone's in trouble, unfortunately. But anyway, I digress. So what do we got here? A lovely sort of sweet caramel. It's like a milk chocolate. Some vanilla there as well, and some dried fruit. It's almost a bit sort of fruit cakey. Christmas pudding, some people say. A bit of walnut or something underneath there. But let's have a taste. Wow, considering that's pretty young. Yeah, it doesn't actually say when it was distilled, but of course it's only going to be around 3 and a bit years. That's pretty young. It's full of flavour. You know, it shows there's some quite sympathetic casking going on here. So a lot of young whiskies, they can be quite hot, quite peppery. You know, particularly at this sort of strength, 51.2. But it's very well balanced. It's got this lovely vanilla, sort of like cocoa powder, some coconuts, like creamed coconut, mixing with this sort of caramel and toffee. There, absolutely delicious. And underneath there's a quite sort of rigid, robust, malty quality. So it's got this quite distinct sort of almost biscuity sort of notes there. But yeah, let's have another taste. Yeah, it's just delicious. I mean, so underneath that there's some depth and complexity coming through with the sort of ginger cake, some cinnamon, there's a bit of that walnut that we had on the nose as well, and that sort of underlying biscuity, malty quality, and that sort of those juicy dried fruits, that sort of fruit cakiness. But yeah, what a cracker. I mean, it's easy to see why they're winning awards, you know, in these sort of blind tastings and, you know, spirit awards, because the liquid's great. You know, as I say, we can't wait to go there, and you know, long may it continue. So yeah, fabulous. I think this bottle was about 75 or 80 pounds, something like that. So you might be able to pick up a subsequent batch, but obviously this is sold out, so there was only 975 bottles. But yeah, absolutely fabulous. Congratulations to Bimber. You know, delighted to see this this sort of quality coming out of London. And yeah, I think we'll probably leave you to get on with whatever you were doing before you discovered this video. And from myself and the Bimber Oloroso Cask, we will bid you farewell. Get on with 1 or 2 more jobs before we head off home, and we'll see you again very soon, we hope. Cheers.